I swear, opening the door and seeing the Skyline never gets old. How good. So it's been a quick minute since I've filmed anything on this car, but yes, I do still own it. And from today, I'm going to start building it to be the 300 kilowatt RB30 that I've talked about for nearly a year now. So keen is probably an understatement, but I'm so looking forward to actually starting this. This build been a long time in the making. So I've got the head behind me under these towels. I've got it all cleaned and everything like that. It's got stainless valves. It's also got bigger ports as well for the valve, so they've done an oversized valve basically. I've also got the cam behind me. It's got heavy duty valve springs. I've done all new lifters and retainers, and obviously we're going to stick in some ARP head bolts as well. So I do want to preface this video by saying this is just me doing it for my first time and taking you guys along with me. A lot of this stuff that I've been doing, we'll be doing on this car is basically just based off hours of research at home. Don't have anybody telling me how to do it, just looking up YouTube videos and going on online forums and stuff like that. So I definitely do want to say, if you do have some suggestions of how I could do things, or if I'm doing something wrong, please let me know, because I really appreciate it and I want to do this build properly. So if I'm missing anything out, I could do something easier. You guys have knowledge of the RB30s that you've built before, please drop a comment and it'll be much appreciated. So I've got the head here, been all nicely machined. Obviously got new seals and stuff like that. It's all apart at the moment. I flip it over, you can see it's got oversized valves. There was also stainless valves as well. So they did a really nice job on that. As well as that, it's also got heavy duty valve springs, which are already in there. And we've got just a Cometic head gasket as well. I've also gone ahead and picked up some ARP head studs here. So I'll be putting those in along with the head. I've also just gone with some aftermarket lifters as well, just to refresh everything up. And then one of the fun things I was waiting for as a long time was the cam. So this is a Crow Cam's TXM. So if you're interested in any of the specs, just pause your screen now, but that's what it is. I've gone for quite a medium kind of build. So, you know, a bit of a smallish turbo and a bit of a medium-sized cam. But for me, I'm really looking for the response when drifting. I'm not trying to go for big power. I'm not trying to make big numbers. I just want to go to like every track weekend I can, get as much seat time as possible, and I just want the car to be responsive as possible. So the first thing I've gone ahead and done is just cleaned up the block with a razor blade really carefully. So just get rid of the bulk of most of the old head gasket material, and it actually turned out all right so far, which is nice. So now I'm going to go ahead and use a knife sharpening stone. So I've got one with me here. Looks like that. I did some research on it, and these apparently are really good to get the deck surface nice and flat and cleaned up as well. You could always go and I guess the better option would be to go and get those like Roloc bristle discs, like the 3M ones, and put it on the end of like an air compressor rotary tool. But around here, I'm on apprentice wages, and that's like majority of my pay for the week. So I went and just picked up a knife sharpening stone. I think it was like 60 bucks, and it got shipped in like 2 days. So it's actually a combination stone that I'll be using. So it's got a coarse side on this side and then a not so coarse side on this side, so a smoother side. So I'll start off with the coarse side, see how that goes. I'm just going to lubricate it with some WD-40, just so I don't actually scratch up the deck surface. And then after that, I'll just go through with the smooth side and we'll see how it turns out. I haven't done this before, so I'm just going to take my time doing it, and I'm really hoping it turns out alright. But from the research I've done, it seems like it should be fine. Like I said, I am trying to do this on a budget. Like that, to get an air compressor that could actually run a rotary tool, let alone buying the rotary tool, would be most of my wage. So it's just not an option at this point. Alright, so let's see how this goes. I can just stand in here. Right, so that's the coarse side done. So it's already come up way better than before. Now just move to the smooth side of the stone, and we'll see how much better we can get it. just quickly change the water pump to a new one. All the nice new shiny parts there. And I went to take off the old water pump, and holy shit, it's just covered in like muck. It's thick. The engine's been sitting for a while. I took the thermostat off. It's all caked in there as well. So I've taken the bung out just down there, taken the bung out for the coolant drain for the block. And yeah, you can see I kind of missed the bucket and it went fucking everywhere. But I'm just gonna get the hose and put it in the thermostat housing here, and hopefully it'll flush all this shit out through that drain hole there. So we'll see what happens. All right. So I've cleaned up the water pump area as best I can, flushed the whole engine out, so it should be all good now. I've also gone ahead and taken off my sump. So I've left the engine in the car doing this, so yeah, it was a shit job. But there's my crank and all the pistons up there and stuff like that. Check them all out, they all look fine, but it was just full of crap basically from cleaning the engine. So I've cleaned it all up. I'm just going to get a bit more of the gasket off, and then I'll reseal it and put it back on the motor. Alright, so I've got the new water pump on, tension as well, all gasketed up nicely, so that looks nice and shiny, which is good. And we also went ahead and put on the sump. That was an absolute prick of a job, and I would not recommend doing it in the car. That I think I got more gasket goo on myself than I did on the sump, but it is on there, and hopefully it doesn't leak. So I tried to use as much the gasket maker as I could, but it was just really hard to wriggle it in there. Alright, so welcome to my engine building room, aka my backyard, because I couldn't fit a table in the garage. So I've kind of laid everything out here that I think I'm going to need. So head, cam, lubricant stuff. I've soaked the lifters in some oil, head gasket, just some other, like the sprocket for the cam and your seals and stuff like that, some degreaser and some stuff for the head gasket, the Hylamar engine manual on my laptop, and I've also got my checklist. So hopefully I've got everything and I don't stuff this up and it doesn't rain, because that'd kind of ruin everything. So I've got the head here. What I'm going to go ahead and do first is just take off the rockers, and then after that I'll go ahead and put the lifters in, or put the cam in rather, and then I'll put the lifters in, and then I'll put the rockers back together. Then obviously you put your sprocket back on, all that kind of good stuff, and it'll be on our way. So I'm aware I probably look like an absolute dickhead wearing this, but it's all about those YouTube angles. So hopefully you can see a bit better what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to start taking off all the rockers, just so I can get to down here, so I can put the lifters in these holes. And then obviously before we put them back in, I'll put the cam in, we'll lube it all up and then put it in, and we'll be good to go. Just pop her over here for now. So I've also labelled them, so I know where everything goes back. So it's top right, obviously. Keep going. Right, so this is the last one. And after this, oh, we've got to wind this out a little bit more. Alright, so now that's the last one. Flick that around. Alright, so just let those chill there. So our lifter blocks should hopefully just pop off like that. So it's that one. It's like got these little dowels, I think. There we go. Perfect. That's that one. So yeah, must just sit on these dowels here. Cam tunnel here. So I'm going to whack out the lubricant, because all I'm following is this, which you can hopefully read. Right, so I've got this little thrust plate here, and then I think just go on the dowels of the head there. I think I have to put the cam in first. Then I've also got this like grease stuff that came with it. I think it's like molybdenum or something. I don't really know how to say it. Anyways, I'm just going to put it on all the lobes, and hopefully we'll be right to go. I don't really know how much I'm supposed to be putting, but anyways, just probably better to have more than less. Okay, that's that. Try and spread this all the way around the best I can. Cam is all lubed up, as you can see, so we should be good to go. Hopefully just slide this thing in here. Alright, let's go for it. And I think that's in, because it went all the way to the back, I could hear it. So hopefully we're all good in that department. Right, so cam's in, all lubed up, got the thrust retainer plate, whatever you want to call it, on there finally on the little dowels. Just had to wiggle it around a bit, actually ended up pulling the cam out a little bit just to get it in, but it's on now. I've already got an O-ring on the other side of this, but there is this little seal here that you need to put in. So I'm just going to pop this over. So I've had these lifters pre-soaked overnight, just in some oil. I don't think you have to do it, but I just did it anyways. So now all I'm going to do is drop them into the lifter blocks, I think that's what you call them, and then I'll probably oil these up as well. I've got these little ports there, and then we'll just put it on the head. I didn't think about that. So yeah, I done goofed a little bit. I got a little bit carried away and didn't read the instructions that I literally wrote down on this piece of paper beforehand. I just started bolting stuff together, and then I realized that I actually have to put the head on the car before I put the rockers on, because I could only tighten one side, because I can get one side the top dead center just by doing it with my hand, but once I tighten it down, I can't get the other side to move the cam to be able to tighten those. So yeah, we're gonna put the head on the car now. Oops. Now we're on to actually putting the head on. So I'm just gonna start with the head studs. I've got everything laid out here. So your head studs and all your grease and all that. Obviously you got the head and then my gasket. And I'll also go ahead and spray some Hylamar on the gasket as well, just to make it nice and tacky, so that it adheres to the block pretty well. Alright, so I'm just gonna pop the dowels in first. Jesus Christ. Oh, I didn't mean to drop that, but open it's on. So I've just done them hand tight for now, but now I'm going to start with the torque setting. So I've worked out it has to be 37, 73 and 110. So obviously I'll start with the 37, do it in the pattern that the workshop manual says, and just keep going up until I get to the 110. Then I might let it sit for a bit and then go to the 110 again and just make sure it's all good. Alright, 110's done. I'll let it sit for a bit and I'll come back and check them again just to make sure they're all good. But so far so good, pretty happy with it. So heads on, off camera I've just timed it up, so got the new timing belt on, all the marks match up, which is good. Adjusted the tensioner as well, so it's got pretty decent tension on it now, so I think that should be alright. I've also just hand cranked over the motor and it seems to be fine, so hopefully I've done that right. I've also gone ahead and done up all the rockers and everything like that, so that's all good. I've also gone ahead and painted the rock cover, and I reckon it turned out bloody good. So last thing to do is put it on and see how it all looks all together. Right, so everything's on now, and I reckon it looks so good. Oh, this is exactly how I imagined it after so long of having this sit here, and now it's finally coming together. It's just such a good feeling. So I'm stoked with how it turned out, and next time you see me, we're doing some fun stuff on this side, aka turbo things.